first.
I've always tried to respect everybody in the job that they have to do, and you know, you all have a tough job as I have a tough job, and you know, there's no reason for there ever to be any ill will towards each other. You know, you have, like I said, you know, if I don't do a good job, you're supposed to report it that way, and if I do a good job, you report it that way. I've always felt like I've been treated fairly by the media here in Baton Rouge, and you know, I've enjoyed my relationship with you and everybody in this community, so
Good.
in the media. So
I think we all feel that way. So what are you doing right now? Like, so you had a team meeting. I mean, what's the? And then, I heard what you said yesterday. I mean, you said you want to help with the transition. What are your next move?
Well, my first move is to go meet with the team right now. This will be my final team meeting of my career, which I'm sure will be somewhat emotional, difficult. And then just like normal, you wrap up a season. You know, seasons are always hard to end, you know, because the finality comes so quickly. You know, you go into it with such high hopes and optimism and expectations. But every college baseball season ends with 2 losses the last weekend, unless you're the last team holding up the trophy. It's just so difficult. You know, I think about how football, you know, how many bowl games they play, and half the teams get to finish the season with a win. But the sports where we have championships that are won through elimination tournaments, and especially baseball where it's a double elimination, you're going to end up losing 2 games the final weekend unless you're the last team standing. So, you know, it's always hard to deal with the finality of it, and so suddenly. And, you know, we went into the weekend with such great confidence, and you know, we had one bad inning on Saturday night, and things just got away from us. But so much credit has to go to to Tennessee's pitching. Their pitcher was really good, and we just couldn't muster a lot of offense. And so, one little mistake here or there, could end up being critical in the outcome of the game. And then yesterday, I was worried about Landon, because he had done so much a weekend before. And then as soon as the game started, you could just see that he didn't have his normal stuff. And I was really concerned about hurting the kid, if he stayed out there. He was battling. He was giving it everything he had, but we wouldn't even have been there at that game if he hadn't done what he had done the weekend before for us. I just couldn't, with good conscience, leave him out there. He battled. I mean, in the second inning, I think it was, he had struck out 2 batters with a runner in scoring position, and also, his velocity jumped up to 92, 93 miles an hour. So it kind of was reminiscent a little bit of the Georgia game at the SEC tournament. And I thought, well, maybe he got off to a slow start and he found his groove, and he'll be okay. But then the third inning, his stuff really went back down, and he didn't have great command. His slide, he didn't have great bite. His velocity was down, and I could just tell he just didn't have any gas in the tank, And I just felt if I left him out there, he could run the risk of injuring himself. And I knew the kid had a future, and I just couldn't do it. So, we had to just start trying to piece it together with the bullpen. And then, of course, we put Garrett Edwards in, and facing the first batter, he threw a slider, and he felt a tug in his forearm, which is a thing he's been dealing with. And he hadn't had it in about 3 weeks. He didn't say anything, and he finished that batter. The guy got a hit. The next guy hit a home run. Then he walked the guy. We went out and made a mound visit, and he told Coach Dunn that he had felt that tug in his forearm again. So by the time we could get him out, he'd already given up 2 runs, and another guy was on base. And then it just, it unraveled from there. And that ballpark, you make one small mistake, and you pay for it. And I think there were 10 home runs hit in the game, and several of the pop-up variety, if you know what I'm saying. Just pop-ups. I mean, for us too, it was both ways, but I think there was one point there was 11 or 12 hits on the scoreboard, and 7 of those hits were home runs. Felt like a slow-pitch softball game, So, it just kind of kept going from there, and we just kind of ran out of gas.
Well, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but do you have some thoughts about who you'd like to succeed you? Or what input do you want to have, or have you had with Scott in that regard?
Well, Scott has asked me about the candidates. I'll be frank with you about that, but I certainly don't have that much input, and I don't want that much input. I want Scott to make the decision. I want we have a very competent administrative staff here, and Scott and Stephanie Remp and Dan Gaston, and they're doing their homework, and I'm going to support whoever they decide to make the baseball coach. I'm very grateful that they have asked me my opinion about people, and I've given them some names of people that I think would be really good candidates, and I think they're kind of working their way through the process right now. And I'm anxious, like everybody, to see who the new coach will be, because as I've said a million times already, I'm going to do nothing but support the new coach and be here as a resource for him and help in any way that I possibly can. I'm not going to overstep my boundaries. It's going to be the new coach to run the program the way that he feels is right. No 2 coaches are exactly alike, and what I would have done in a situation is not necessarily what the new coach will do, and he doesn't need to see me standing there looking over his shoulder or second guessing him. He needs, he's going to be under enough pressure as it is. He's got to do things his way, but certainly I can be a resource for him and help him in any way that I can, and I'm certainly going to be willing. But I don't know where they are in the process, and I'm anxious to see where they are and who they come up with, as well as everybody else. So.